Good evening, folks. Welcome back to another Monday Night live stream. How the devil are you all? Nice to see a few of you in the chat nice and early. I think actually the first person was in the chat about 10 o'clock this morning, I think. So yeah, somebody, I can't remember who it was now because the chat refreshes and it kind of loses some of the old chat. But yeah, they were determined they wanted to be the first one, and they certainly were. So whoever that was, I can't remember now. Thank you very much. Let's have a quick look and see who we've got. So, Joel Wrigley was in nice and early. Good evening, Joel, if you're watching this back. He did say that he's not sure if he'll be able to join later, so I thought he'd say hi now in case he's busy at 9. So, thanks for popping in, Joel. And if you do watch this back or you're in later tonight, thanks very much, buddy. I almost slopped my water about there. I better get a drink out before it spills. Furious George is in nice and early as well there, 8:30. Evening, George. He says, how important is community? When it comes to live streams, it's critical. Otherwise, it's just Andy sitting alone in a room talking to himself. Yes, it certainly would be. I might quite happily sit and talk to myself. Furious George, it was you earlier on. Thank you, buddy. I knew I couldn't quite remember who it was. I didn't want to embarrass myself by guessing. Yes, it would just be me sitting there, chatting to myself. So we'll get onto that in a bit. So if you haven't seen the title for tonight's video, to be honest, we're just going to have a bit of a natter tonight, a bit of a catch up, see how everyone's doing. It's really kind of a community focused video tonight. So some videos I do get searched after the event and people will look for them. Things like the contrast paints one was quite popular. Last week's one about Super Fantasy Brawls being quite popular. Tonight's is more about you folks. It's more about the community. It's about catching up, seeing what you're up to, having a bit of a natter, giving you an opportunity to ask a few questions. And I've kind of framed that by saying just, so how important is community? How important is community to particular games? How important is community to games companies? And I guess more importantly for me, how important is the community to what I do? So we'll get onto that later on. But yeah, that's the basis for tonight's chat. So who else have we got? We've got Christopher Warden in. Good evening, buddy. Said he made it just before the show started. I think it's afternoon for you, I think, as well, is it? Or morning? We've got Robert Zunk in as well. Good afternoon to you, Robert. I think I saw you said you're out on the patio there with a beer or two. It's 1 p.m. in the afternoon. Thank you very much as well for the photograph of you in your new shirt as well. You were the first person actually to buy one of the new BlackJack Legacy shirts. So thank you very much. If anybody's interested, there'll be a link in the description at the bottom of this video to the Teespring store where you can buy one for yourself as well. Christian's in as well. Good evening, Christian. Christian is a little bit of a community legend. He is a supporter here on YouTube. He's one of the members here. He's one of my Patreons. He painted some of my miniatures for me recently, and he sent me a very nice message today as well too. So yes, thanks, buddy. Communities thrive and grow because of people like yourself and other people in the chat tonight. So thank you very much, mate. Steve Evans is in as well. Good evening, Steve. How are you doing, my friend? You've been playing a little bit more Kings of War, I believe, as well. Mark's in this evening as well. Good evening, Mark Berracloth. How are you doing, mate? What did I see you'd been playing as well? You've been playing something with your son. I'm trying to remember. What was it? Keyforge? I think I saw you playing the new Keyforge in your pictures, wasn't it? I hope that went well. Christopher's seen this afternoon there. Good afternoon, buddy. Top Table Gaming. Good evening, all. Can I guess it's you, Jay? I don't know. Jay's normally the chatter, but I do often get Stephen as well, so I'll guess it's Jay on that one. Where are we at? VJ Mov said he's first of all, hello VJ, good morning, and he said he's happy to be home. So VJ has had a bit of an American tour. Lives in Australia. I think I got that right, not New Zealand. Lives in Australia. Went over for the Tabletop Minions Expo and had a bit of a USA holiday while you were there. Glad to see you back nice and safe, mate. And he said it was a great time UK next year. Fingers crossed indeed, matey. Provided I can get the wife to sign off. I know that feeling, mate. He said he's keen to chat. He's had 3 new Kickstarter games delivered while I was OS off-site. That might be. Yeah, I've had a little bit stuff delivered as well. So yeah, we no doubt we'll chat about that at some point. We've got Ruth in as well, Flying Mammal. Hello, Flying Mammal. How are you doing? Christopher's saying, wow. Noxie's in as well, says, evening all. Evening, mate. How are you doing? Marco's in as well, says, good evening, Andy. Good evening, Marco. Hope you're well. Skullmunch is in as well, another one of the YouTube members. Good evening, buddy. I apologise, there's been a bit of a delay on your mug, and the reason is I haven't sent you one of the ones I've got. I've had a new one kind of made that's getting sent directly to you, and it's just delayed a bit for whatever reason. So it's on its way, I promise you. VG says, yeah, I popped my head in when the stream was first posted. Kieran's asking VG what Kickstarters he's got. Craig Lowther's in. Good evening, Craig Lowther. How are you doing? Paul Palms is in as well. Evening, Paul. Different Gear TV. Nice to see you again, buddy. Says hello and good evening, mate. God bless all those up north. Thank you very much, fella. Andy Smith's in as well. He said, wait a minute, this is not Alveda's Pet. No, mate, it's a repeat of Biter Grove. I think you've got the wrong you got the wrong night if you want for Alveda's Pet. We've got Tony in as well, Mr. Spooky Thang. How you doing, fella? Let's have a look. Paul said he's pretty annoyed he missed the mug giveaway. We'll have another one soon, buddy. Don't worry about that. VJ said he's wearing his Mold Line shirt. Reminds me I need to post a pic. Please do, buddy. That would be good. We got Blackwing Bird in as well. Good evening, Blackwing Bird. Thanks for joining us again this week. So last week, Blackwing Bird came in for our Mythic Games special on Super Fantasy Brawl. For those that didn't see it, please go back and check it out. Super Fantasy Brawl hits Kickstarter tomorrow night at 8 p.m. UK time, I think it is. So you can back it from that point. But yeah, I noticed I'm also a member in the Mythic Games Discord channels. Discord, something I'm still getting my head around a little bit. Getting a bit long, a bit old, a bit long in the tooth now. So learning these new systems is quite a challenge. But yeah, I've noticed Blackwing Bird's quite active over there. So yeah, nice to see you in here tonight. Thank you very much for joining us. Claudio's in as well. He says he can't make it, but we'll look forward to catching it later. Good evening all. Thank you, Claudio. Nice of you to drop in anyway, buddy. Really appreciate that. Flying Mammal says we love our Christian. Yes, we do. Where else are we up to as well? VJ is seeing some of the games he's been getting a Kickstarter. Aggression's in as well. Says he's marking GCSE papers. It paid for the eBay purchase of the Hate game. Aggression, if you happen to be marking my twin sons' GCSEs, good marks would be really appreciated. I'm only joking there. I've got no idea. You never know. You might come across them at some point. Please just mark them accordingly. Top Table Game says, is Jay the coolest part of the team? I won't say what I was going to say. Of course, it's the coolest part of the team, buddy. You know you are. I know you are. Mark said yes, he was. He was at Battlefield Hobbies in Daventry. Played Hive, Zombie Dice, Boss Monster. Brought a new Keyforge out and played the original too. Great day. It's nice to get a little bit of gaming in with the boy, isn't it? And he said Muggate starts here. Noxie said he hopes I'm well. Finishing off some Necrons. Get some pictures up, mate, once you've done them ones. Be nice to see some Necrons done. OS overseas. Of course it is. It's because we never really talk about being overseas. We always just say on holiday. When I say OS, like when I'm in a factory, OS is off-site. Skullmuncher says, that's cool, mate. Glad it's not lost in the post. No, it's not lost in the post, mate. I promise you that. It was just, by the time I pay for, because I have to pay for shipping to get the mug to me, and then I have to pay for shipping to get it to you. It's easier if I just order a new one and send it directly to you. So that's the best way to do it. Andy Smith said it's past his bedtime, and Kickstarter, how do I do it? I'll touch on that in a bit, mate, because I guess there's a lot of people who haven't backed Kickstarters before, so we'll touch on that in a bit. I'll just kind of see who else we've got around here as well. Tony's having a bit of a chat there as well. George is saying, have you ever backed a Kickstarter you were disappointed, unhappy with? No, George, I haven't, if I'm honest. Every Kickstarter I've backed, I've been really happy with, but I haven't backed many, if I'm honest. Because I tend to be a little bit picky about the ones I back. I tend to look for companies that I kind of can rely on and I trust. And I tend to back the ones that I do a bit of research, if I'm honest. I mean, I'm quite fortunate these days that I get to see quite a lot of stuff before it hits Kickstarter. So that always helps as well. I appreciate most people don't always get the chance and they have to do a little bit of a punt. But the things that I've backed that have been sent to me, first thing I ever backed was The Walking Dead from Mantic. I was absolutely sort of over the moon with that. It was what started me on my YouTube channel sort of journey, really. So I've got a lot to thank The Walking Dead for. And if anybody's interested, there'll be more Walking Dead information coming this week as well on the channel, with the new edition Call to Arms coming out soon. I also backed Resident Evil 2, that you'll see behind me there. It's a good game. I like the game. I like the miniatures. You got a lot of stuff for your money in the Kickstarter. When it comes to retail, it's quite an expensive core set. So would I be disappointed if I paid full price for it? I don't know. What I would say is the price I paid wasn't much more than retail for the core set, and I got like 3 expansions and exclusives and all sorts of stuff. So I definitely got more than my money's worth, I would say, out of that one. I also backed Hellboy, which I was absolutely... I got the chance to play it a few times. I was part of the playtest team, so I backed that myself as well, and I was really happy with that. So yeah, and I'm looking forward to backing Super Fantasy Brawl tomorrow as well. Where are we at as well? Where we got... Christopher said, I missed your chat about the new paints. I'll go and watch it after this. Do you know what it is, the new paints? So today, I went to a shop to buy some contrast paints. And when I got there, I kind of looked at them. There's 2 different sort of undercoats, the primers. There's about 34 different paints. They're just shy of £5 each. And I kind of looked at them and I thought, you know what it is? If I didn't have a YouTube channel, I just wouldn't bother. I'm only buying them to kind of try them out and have an opinion, because I did try them at the UK Games Expo. I wasn't blown away by them. I wasn't buying them for any specific project, so I wasn't buying specific colours. And I thought, I've either got to buy them all to kind of have all the different colours that I want and to try different pieces, or I need to have a specific project in mind. So I end up just turning around and not bothering with them. I've got a good range of Vallejo paints and P3 paints and Citadel paints. And I thought, I'm hardly using those at the moment, really. So, and I use a lot of the airbrush stuff now as well. So where contrast paints, I appreciate, can speed things up for people, my airbrush really gives me that little burst of speed as well if I'm doing kind of big batches of stuff. So I'm thinking it's probably not something I'll use, but not because I think they're terrible or anything, or because I'm against them. Just I don't think I really need them, if I'm honest. So I've kind of stayed away from it, but that's the only reason though. Let's have a look. Neil Anderson is in as well. Good evening, Neil. How are you doing? Andy Smith says, did kill team, got killed, loved it. It's all part of the fun, mate, isn't it? Skull Munch is saying OS is operating system, where he comes from. It's all these little acronyms, isn't it? We've all got different stuff. Where are we up to? Green Tree's in as well. Good evening, Green Tree. Craig Lowther says the community that was around the Kickstarter Dungeon Royale was amazing. Great chat and support from the creators and the backers. Yeah, that's one thing I would say about community around Kickstarters is it, and I guess we're kind of getting into the chat a little bit now as well. Community around companies and a community around particular games, you really see it come together in things like Kickstarter comments. So I'll use Mythic because we chatted about them last week. They do a What's Up Wednesday, so every single Wednesday they do an update on every kind of undelivered Kickstarter, shall we say. They do an update about what's happening. There are other companies, and I hear about it. I haven't really been kind of unfortunate enough to be involved in them, but where basically they go missing for months on end and nobody knows what's happening, and they send emails. And I'm sure these companies are very busy, and a lot of them are kind of 2 or 3 people absolutely working their socks off, but people like to get updated. It creates a buzz around the game. It creates a community. So when that game hits, it's kind of got a ready-made buzz. I mean, you've just got to look at things like the Mantic stuff. If they've got a new game coming to Kickstarter, there's a buzz around it before it happens. Super Fantasy Brawl with Mythic, there's a buzz around that game. Not every company has that, and companies can live and die by their communities, I think. So, Noxie says, you ever back 2 Kickstarters ever? Fly Mammal says, did I steal a mug before he saw it? Shh, don't say anything. Al Krabby's in as well. It says, hello all. Hello Al, how are you doing? I saw your pictures at the weekend, mate. Your bike looked absolutely stunning out in the sunshine. I was very, very jealous of that. Furious George is saying to VJ, what about Highlander made you unhappy? I must have missed that bit in the chat there. I saw it further up. Certainly wasn't happy with Highlander, yeah. Jay saying had himself a game of Super Fantasy Brawl. Yeah, I think me and you are going to have some games of that soon, mate, without a shadow of a doubt. Mark's in from Dice Tales as well. He said his Kickstarters have been meh, solo games, nothing better than what I have. Have you, and I don't mean this to sound kind of bad, but how much kind of research have you done beforehand, mate? How much have you looked into it? Do you get caught up in the hype of games and just kind of back it because everybody else is telling you to back it kind of thing? Tony's saying, Tony's explained to Andy Smith about how to do Kickstarter. That saves me a bit of a job. Chris is in as well. Evening, Chris. How you doing, mate? VJ saying that we've discussed it in the past. Yeah, it doesn't really feel like you're playing the game, sort of happens to you. Yeah, if anybody hasn't seen my review of Highlander, the board game, go back and check it out. It was a bit of a disappointment, if I'm honest, as well. And I didn't pay for it. It was given to me to kind of have a look at it and to review. And I felt it was only fair to give an honest opinion. So, Craig said he also backed Refuge Terror because of this channel. It was a really good game, mate. I backed that as well, and I really enjoyed playing it at UK Games Expo. There's a bit of chat going backwards. Dice Tales saying having tried backing for £1 to back later, but forgot each time. Yeah, and sometimes when the pledge manager reopens, you can get back in then as well, can't you? Jay saying Super Fantasy Brawl definitely getting backed. The new Battle Systems terrain is on Wednesday as well. Poor wallet. Is that on Wednesday, mate? Is it? I didn't realise that. I'm going down to film with Battle Systems on Friday about their new terrain. I didn't realise it was launching on Wednesday. So there'll be a video about that soon. Hopefully I can get it filmed and edited before the Kickstarter is over. VJ says he's chilling on Kickstarter at the moment, waiting on a lot of things. Green Tree saying not blown away with the new contrast paints. One or two are good. Favourites so far, Snake Blight Leather. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Gullum and Flesh tone as well. Looked really good, but like I say, I'm kind of happy with my methods that I've got at the minute. It's certainly not slowing me down. VJ is saying he's going to check out the Super Fantasy Brawl stuff. Kieran says this week's going to be expensive. Yes. Pre-orders of the new Walking Dead skirmish game as well. Yeah, so I think the first bits of that goes on sale on pre-order on Friday, I think. End of July, I think the game's launching. Let's have a quick look down. What else we got? So Andy Smith is saying, to back a game, do you put all of the cash in? So what you do is, let's use Super Fantasy Brawl as an example because it launches tomorrow. It's going to be an 8-day campaign. So that means the campaign will be live for 8 days. You can back it at any point over those 8 days and it won't cost you a penny out of your bank account until the end of the project, so the end of the 8th day, and if it's reached its funding target, at that point, the money will be taken from your account and you will pay for whatever pledge level you went for. Now, you can pledge for $1 and that basically entitles you to be part of the project, and then you'll be able to, when the pledge manager goes live, the pledge manager is basically when you can do all your add-ons and bits and pieces. You can then pick the bits you want and then you can just sort of do it that way. Or you sometimes get bonuses for pledging on day one, if you like, or pledging early in the campaign. It depends on the company, it depends on the deal. But Super Fantasy Brawl, as an example, is going to be a relatively low level. Games like Batman, which I backed as well. Oh, I forgot I backed Batman as well. Batman Gotham City Chronicles was quite an expensive one. So it depends, basically. I mean, by all means, you can kind of put it on a credit card and pay for it next month if you're waiting for payday or something like that. But I know a lot of Kickstarters try and catch payday because they know people are waiting for the money. Different Gear TV. Thank you very much, buddy. He's just said, have a couple of beers with us and put me on the next mug competition. Thank you very much, man. You really didn't need to do that, but massively, massively appreciated. I was just going to say, I hope your name comes up on the TV there. Now it has done. Thank you very much, buddy. Oh, thanks. It kind of caught me off guard a bit there. So, yeah, a bit of chat there about Walking Dead Call to Arms. So it's not a Kickstarter. It's just going to be, it's just going to retail. basically, if you have Walking Dead miniatures, you can use them with the existing game. With the new game, there's going to be some rules and there's going to be some cards. But other than that, yeah, you'll be all right. And speaking of which, I might have already had the rules and things for quite some time now. I've printed these off myself, so I got these. The cards are not even available yet, so I've got the PDF versions. So I believe that the character cards are going to be the same size as they are for Walking Dead. So it's bigger than this. I've just printed them off so I can sleeve them because they're on bits of paper at the minute. But I'll have a video coming this week, I think, and there might be a bit of cheeky news as well. I don't know whether you'll hear it first from Ronnie, or you might hear it from me, or you might hear it from somebody else, but I've been kind of working on something in the background, so yeah, keep watching for that. If you're a fan of The Walking Dead, keep watching. But yeah, I've had the rules for a little while now, the finished rules. I've been sent over PDFs of all the character cards and all of the equipment lists and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, stay tuned. Neil is saying that some Kickstarter games could have and should have gone straight to retail. I wouldn't disagree with that. However, given the current climate, you can't really blame these companies, can you? At the end of the day, if they want to have a no-risk option where they do it as a pre-order. I mean, a lot of times now, games are pretty much finished before they go to Kickstarter. All they're doing really is trying to find out how big the audience is for it. So by going to Kickstarter and 10,000 people back it, guess how many copies you've got to make? 10,000. That's exactly what happened with Batman. It is a way to de-risk things for companies. So I do get why they do it. Is it what Kickstarter was originally intended for? Definitely not, but you can't really blame companies. If it was you and you wanted to do something, you wanted to launch something, and you had 10 grand sitting in the bank that you could risk and pay for it and then see if anybody wants to buy it, or you could kind of put it up for pre-order on Kickstarter, I think you'd probably go down the same path. So whilst it's not ideal, I do kind of understand it. Al saying, thanks buddy, it was a great day, Armed Forces run. You wouldn't be jealous of my sunburnt head. Mine's not too far off it. I either have a bit of time in the garden putting together a little kind of climbing frame for my son, so yeah. And then I did manage to sit outside the pub on Saturday with my mate Jason and have a few beers. Spud's in as well. Good evening, Spud. How are you doing, fella? He says he's watching on the 40-inch, so not being able to comment. Watching you on the phone and TV now. Cheers, fella. Thank you very much. And I still need to get back to you as well about ChillCon as well. Because, yeah, I am planning on coming, mate. For some reason, I read the message, thought I'd check the dates, and then reply to you, and I forgot to reply, and you've just reminded me by seeing your name there. Glenn Griffin is in as well. Good evening, Glenn. Says, hey, BlackJackers, on the bus home again from work. Hello, everybody on the bus. Again, that very, very generous donation by Different Gear TV. Thank you, buddy. Phil Johnson is as well. Good evening, Phil. He said there's two kinds of Kickstarters. Sometimes you're genuinely investing in a product that does not exist, risky but maybe rewarding, and other times it's essentially a pre-order, little risk. Yeah, I think even the latter version, especially around tabletop gaming, there's probably two versions of that. There are the companies that you can kind of trust, companies like Mantic, companies like Mythic, who have a track record of maybe kind of producing good quality games and delivering on them. You often get delays and things, but delays happen with projects, so you have to kind of accept some of that. And then there are companies that it's the first game they've ever created. You don't know anything about them. You can't really do any research to see whether what they're saying is true, and you kind of have to go with gut feel sometimes and a little bit of digging around in the background. So even then, it's sometimes a bit more difficult. Everyone giving Different Gear TV a nice little clap and a pat on the back there. Yeah, thanks, buddy. Christian says, do you know if the Aristia core game is out of production? Looking to get a copy, but it's unavailable in most web stores. Not as far as I'm aware, buddy. I had a meeting with the guys from Corvus Belli at UK Games Expo. They certainly got big plans for Aristia. They gave me a copy of the latest expansion, which was not the Chemical Brothers, sorry. I forget where it was now. It's in a box over there. But yeah, so yeah, there's no reason why it should be out of print, buddy. Where are we up to? Benja's in as well. Good evening, Benja. He said, you think I'm going to back the Refuge Terror from the Deep? Looks simple. All right, the miniatures. Yes, it is a very cool game, buddy. Steve said, is that a BlackJack Andy card for The Walking Dead? Nobody. It's not. I'm not going to be in the game. These are the characters. So I've been putting together a nice little team for a bit of a scrap. Shall we say? More to be revealed. I might even talk more about it tonight. Seems that this week is the Mantic blog for Walking Dead. Call to arms. I can start to kind of talk about stuff now. Robert's saying Warlord Games is a new historical skirmish game coming for pre-order. SPQR, I think it's called. Yeah, they've been doing a couple of videos on it this week, I think. Glyn is in as well. Good evening, Glyn. Evening, Blackjackers and Andy. Evening, buddy. How are you doing? Tony's saying, you're such a big tease. I'll try not to be, buddy. VJ saying, as someone who's not seen any of the Super Fantasy Brawl hype, what's the number one thing about it that would sell me on it? I like, but I've fallen a bit out of love with Underworlds. Tell me what you don't like about Underworlds. Because what I would say for Super Fantasy Brawl is there's no deck building. There is no buying a certain character or champion to get a certain card for another one. So the cards that come with that champion can only be used with that champion. So there's none of that X-Wing Underworlds thing of buying one sort of warband to get cards to make another one better. There's none of that. There's no dice. It's all kind of card driven. There is a plan for it to be sort of fully supported at retail with kind of competitive play, as well as kind of organized play and some fun versions, kind of 2v2 versions and things as well. So yeah, tell me what you don't like about Underworlds and I'll try and explain how this differs or is the same, for example. Andre's in as well. Good evening, Andre. Haven't chatted in a little while, buddy. Hope you're well. Where we at? Trying to kind of go through it, pick up the bits and pieces where people are just having a bit of a chat. Bit of an excuse there about the mug as well. Yes. Spud said he's only been in one Kickstarter and that never sent even an email to say they weren't sending models out. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, they're never risk-free. They're never... You're pledging to support the project, and as soon as it funds, you pay for it. There is no guarantees that you will get what you pay for. However, if you research the company and you kind of chat around the internet and talk to communities, of which this is another reason why community is really important, you'll get a feel for whether this is a risk-free thing. Well, risk-free isn't what I'm kind of thinking. Whether it is low risk as opposed to high risk. Yes, Master of Puppets. Thank you very much, Sean. VJ saying he's mainly fallen out of love with Underworld due to the card mechanics and the need to constantly buy. Yeah, there's none of that, buddy. You could literally go and buy the core set, if you like. Ignore the Kickstarter stuff at the minute, because the Kickstarter is going to come with the Kickstarter is going to come with 12 champions. The core set at retail is going to come with 6. So the other 6 that you don't get in the core set will be available to buy separately. There's going to be nothing exclusive to the Kickstarter from a gameplay perspective. There might be some fancy tokens or something like that, but there's going to be nothing exclusive to the Kickstarter that you won't be able to buy later. But yeah, the card mechanics is basically... the cards that come with your champion. So basically, to explain it, you have 3 champions. Each champion comes with 6 cards. You choose. There's no factions, so you can pick any 3 champions you like. Just whether you like the look of them or whether you get into it a bit more deeply and you look for synergies between them. You take those 18 cards from the 3 champions, shuffle them together, and that's your deck. So that means you're not having to buy a champion you don't like the look of just to get that one card that's in it. Bit more chat. We got Jackie Brown as well. Good evening, Jackie. How are you doing? It says, wow, Andy, really did forget to slap some sun cream on your head, didn't you? I'd like to think it's just it's a bit of a tan. To be honest, I get a bit red in here. It gets really warm in here at night time, especially during the summer. I've got a blackout blind on there, which kind of sort of stops any kind of airflow, anything like that. And then I've got the lights in here as well for the camera, and it does seem to kind of get a bit warm. The PC's kicking out a bit of heat as well, so it soon warms up. Michael's in as well. He says, hi, he's in the car listening. Good evening, Michael. Hope you're well. Robert's saying Terror from the Deep looks good. Yeah, I definitely would recommend you go and check that one out. I'm not sure how long's left on that project now, but yeah, not too long left. Blizzards is in as well. He says he's sorry he's late. Dead Zone just arrived. Nice little order there, buddy. 12 Neef's in as well. Says, don't mind Underworlds, as I don't really buy anything else for the larger games. It doesn't bother me to buy the warbands. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the game. It's just, I think if you feel like you're constantly chasing the meta because there's always new cards out and you might have to buy one particular warband just to get some new super powered card, that can be a bit off-putting. Where we at? Andre's saying Kickstarter's like eBay. When eBay first started, it was basically a place people would sell their junk. Now it's a giant retail store. That's probably a really good kind of comparison, to be fair. He says the only thing that's missing is the GW lore. It doesn't have the GW lore, but the lore for Super Fantasy Brawl is fantastic. It's worth checking out for that alone. Glyn said he spent the weekend with his family as his younger brother is moving to Canada. And he says he's on the flight as we speak. I think I saw your picture, Glyn, actually. Was that the picture was with you and your brother on Facebook? Skullmunch is saying he likes to buy the warbands as well. Nice to paint. Yeah, I mean, they're not too expensive, to be fair. They're like, was it like somewhere 15 to 18 pound? So it's an affordable, and they don't come out kind of too often. So for me personally, the thing I don't really like about it is I'm not a big fan of deck building. I can't kind of like lay all of those cards out and pick the synergies out of it. So Super Fantasy Brawl for me really does work well. It's one of the things I love about Keyforge. It takes away that kind of deck building part, that aspect that I don't really enjoy. I'm a bit like that with list building when it comes to kind of miniatures games. I'd rather somebody just handed me a list and said, hey, play that, and I would have loads of fun playing the game. I don't really kind of enjoy the list building side of things. Glenn said he's buying flights and accommodation this Friday for October. Nice one. So yeah, for anybody who's still interested, we do have some tickets still available for the Top Table Legacy Weekender in October. It's at Stockport Element Games near Manchester, and it is from the Friday until the Sunday, a full weekend of gaming. If you're interested, drop a note in the comments and we can do a bit more detail, or head across to the Facebook group as well, and we can get you sorted for that. I think I just saw somebody saying, Noxie's saying his first Kickstarter was Alice Cooper's guitarist recording a studio album. It felt a safe bet. I guess it's kind of one of them things when you've got to create physical product and it's going to get made maybe out in the Far East, or it's got to be produced somewhere, and you've got things like Brexit coming up and all of the tariffs with between China and the US. There's quite a bit of uncertainty at certain times, so you've got to kind of navigate around that and make sure that the companies that you're backing have kind of built in a little bit of contingency, really. There's a lot of first-time companies might not have that, but certainly if they've been in business a little while, you can normally kind of tell that they're on the ball. Steve Evans is saying, what are people painting tonight? He's doing his Veerman Dreadball team. I've got my corporation team there, mate, just all lined up midway through painting. Robert said he's working on some Cruel Seas stuff that he's had since Christmas, taking a break so I can watch the chat. Yeah, it's quite nice just to kind of dig into some older projects as well, things that you've never had the chance to get around to. I've got my hands full at the minute, so I've just had Joan of Arc first wave all arrive as well, so I've got a million things there. I'm just looking over here, I'm still finishing off my Lord of the Rings stuff. I've got Hellboy there, I've got Batman there, pretty much everything you can see behind me. Plenty on the table. Oh, and a load of Walking Dead stuff as well. But I do actually already have some of these painted, but I'm going to be doing a video on how I'm going to paint them as well. So I'm intentionally using models that I haven't got painted yet. So that's kind of limited my choice. Where we at? Mark there is saying that the topic around communities is definitely an interesting social dynamic. I find communities to be a great way to unite people around a common interest. Yes, I guess getting on the community stuff is there's a few things. I mean, certain companies really do thrive on their communities. So companies like Games Workshop, as an example, have a huge community around them. For a little while, they try to distance themselves from that, and they try to focus on their miniatures themselves. But I think they've really realized over the last few years just how important communities are to the success of a game, and by proxy, the success of a company. And they're starting to embrace that now. That's why we have Warhammer TV. That's why we have the Warhammer community site. Companies like Mantic really do have a really kind of strong community as well. And whilst it might not be anywhere near as big as the GW community, the fact that they have the rules committees, which are pulled from the players who play the game regularly and who love the game. They have open days, inviting people down to come and have a look around their premises. They do a lot of stuff with events where they'll turn up to events, and they like to get out and meet people. I mean, like Ronnie himself likes to get out there and shake the hand of customers and fellow hobbyists. Really, I mean, a lot of these companies are just run by people who love gaming. They're not. They haven't been kind of CEO of some fast food chain and then come across and decided to do miniature games. They're people that absolutely love the stuff they sell, and they're part of the community themselves. So some companies, like the ones I've mentioned, really do thrive off the back of the community. There are certain games I've only gone and looked at because of the communities. Kings of War is one of them. Kings of War is not a game I'd ever played. But when I look online and I like to kind of be in and around games and just understand what's going on, even when the games I don't play, I like to try and keep abreast of what's happening. And the community around Kings of War was absolutely unbelievable. They always just seem to be really encouraging, always very friendly. And you see that a lot around most Mantic games. And it draws you into the game because there's a friendly atmosphere there. There are other games, and I won't mention them, but I'm sure you'll have examples you've seen yourself, where the communities can be a little bit divisive. They can be a little bit kind of unwelcoming. They can be a little bit gatekeeperish, for want of a better word, and it doesn't make it very easy for a new person to break into those games. So as somebody who tries to just keep involved in all manner of tabletop gaming, whether I physically am playing and painting it and stuff, or whether I'm just really watching from afar, some companies get it right, and some companies need a lot of help. And it means their games, unfortunately, do suffer for it as well, because why would you want to invest money in playing a game where the community isn't very welcoming, and the company's frankly not very welcoming? So, yeah, it works both ways. And then as I get back to things like communities like this one, really, I mean, when I first started doing them YouTube videos, I never imagined a community would grow up around me making videos. I mean, I'm just kind of the conduit to pull it all together, really. You're not here just for me. You're here because the community that's grown around the videos I make are a really friendly bunch, a really welcoming bunch, and people I'm happy to call my friends now. People who I've kind of spent some time with you. I've got to know some of you. I've got to meet some of you face to face. There's some of you I've only ever chatted to online or maybe spoken to very briefly, but I do feel like we're kind of part of a big friendly community, and it's one of the reasons that Jay and Steve and I wanted to create that Top Table Legacy Weekender, was because we all three felt that both channels had awesome communities around them. And not every YouTube channel does. Not every YouTube channel has a community. Some just have subscribers, some just have viewers. But I think we've both been fortunate that communities have grown up around us, and whilst we might not get as many views as other channels, or we might get more views than some channels, or we might have more or less subscribers, a lot of that is kind of, it pales into the background really with the interaction that we get with things like these Monday Night Lives, things like the live streams that the guys at Top Table do, and things like the Weekender event. It's awesome just to kind of be able to feel part of a gaming group that I don't always get access to, like on a weekly basis, for example. So that's me nattering for a while. Let's see what's going on here. I'll scroll back a little bit. Steve is saying, you come at the Dreadball tournament at Mantic on the 20th of July. I had thought about it, mate, but I haven't really played in quite a long time, and I'm only halfway through painting my stuff. If I suddenly get a burst of energy, I might do, mate, I might do. But I've got quite a bit in the diary, to be fair. Jackie Brown is saying he's got some amazing labs on the table for paint tonight. Bagged some of the £1 Minions bags from Star Saga at the open day. Well done, buddy. using it to slap a few base colours on. Nicely done. Oh, I wonder what I've missed there. When Jay's saying something to Skull Munch about give us a clue, Flying Mammal saying bigger doesn't mean better. I must have missed some conversation there somewhere. Jay saying Mantic's community is top notch. It certainly is, buddy. It's one of the things I've found. Like I say, I started my channel around Walking Dead. I'm a big fan of the games that Mantic make. I've made no secret of that. But it's the community and it's Mantic themselves that kind of keep me coming back as well. So yeah, they're a good bunch, everyone. Glenn is saying there, this is a community worth being part of. I like to think so, buddy. Paul saying online video gaming is pretty toxic. Yeah, my sons are quite heavily into online gaming. And some of the kind of chat that I hear or overhear when they're playing, I mean, they're nearly 17 now, so it's not exactly a case of like slapping them on the wrist for the odd curse word, but yeah, I'm quite surprised kind of the way they talk to each other, really. Like it all, and even when I play online, I don't really chat to people, but you can kind of hear the chat online. It's always a little bit like, there's no encouragement, there's no friendliness. It's always kind of, I'm playing with effing amateurs kind of thing, isn't it? Robert saying he likes to learn about other games even though he doesn't plan on getting them. Yeah, I just love it's one of the things I love about this. I love kind of understanding what's happening in the industry, what's happening in the different companies, learning about the people, who are the people behind the games. I love all of that stuff. Green Tree saying he loves this. I like this kind of community. Paul says, I'm here just for you, BlackJack. You're too kind, buddy. I'm sure you're here for the wider community rather than me. Andy Smith says, to me, this is a community. Andy gibbers on in the background, my Monday night. Do you know what it is? I've said this many, many times. For all, views are starting to go up on Monday Night Lives. I never did this for the views. These Monday night live streams were always about community building. They were always about getting to know you lot a little bit better, sort of an opportunity just to have a chat about what's been happening in the last week, really find out what you're up to, almost like give you a bit of a podcast, really, just to kind of listen and do a little bit of painting. But things have kind of picked up as they've gone on. Views are kind of going up now. Some of these Monday Night Lives get kind of somewhere between 500 and 1,000 views now over time. We've had numbers in the chat, so up to kind of 70 people in the chat, rabbiting away. So it's it's nice that happens, but I don't do these Monday nights for the views. I do them because I really enjoy them. Flying Mammal is saying you're a nice bunch. Oh, too kind, Ruth, too kind. Glenn says, between yourself and Jay and Steve, giving a stable platform for the community to mingle and make friends. That's kind of what we thought. We've got similar communities. The communities might play different games. There's a lot more kind of Middle-earth players around Steve and Jay's channels, and certainly Guild Ball and games like that. And there's probably a bit more Mantic stuff around my channel. But the vast majority, and I mean 99.9% of that community, are just kind of here for fun, and they like to play multiple games. So I thought it was a good idea to try and get them together. VJ saying there about Monday Night Live, super glad when you scaled back on your videos, you kept the Monday night schedule. Originally, I kind of started the Monday Night Live things because it was a way to force me to at least do one video a week. But very quickly, I found that I really enjoyed doing them. So even when times are kind of tough and work's busy and I can't always kind of do other videos for whatever the reason is, like family commitments, it's like Monday night's just kind of blocked out in my diary. So Monday night is always Monday Night Live, and it's not a night I'm likely to be kind of invited to a party. It's not a night I tend not to be away with work on a Monday night. It tends to be later in the week when I'm away. So I've managed to kind of just schedule it that Monday seems to work for you lot, and it means that I can manage to block it out, really. Only when I'm away on holiday really have I missed any, but yeah, I've got no intention of kind of stopping the Monday Night Lives. Christian saying the community, jumping off top of my screen there, built around this channel and the Top Table guys is amazing. So far everyone's supportive, isn't any of the backhanded negative comments. Yeah, it's something I'm kind of, I was going to say I'm proud of, but it's not like I've done it. It's like, it just seems to have encouraged that kind of really sort of inclusive community, really. Everybody just seems to, nobody's kind of keeping people at arm's length. Everybody's encouraging of each other. Everybody wants to know what everybody else is doing, like what games are you playing, what you're working on. It's just a nice place to hang out. Skullman saying, my Monday wouldn't be the same without Andy's soothing northern accent and speaking to you, lovely lot. Well, thank you very much, Sean. Robert says he found out about BlackJack Legacy from Mantic. There was a link on how to paint The Walking Dead. There'll be another link on how to paint The Walking Dead very soon, buddy. I'm going to be doing some prisoners. So yeah, watch out for those orange jumpsuits. Buzzer's in as well. Good evening, Buzzer. Flame Animal saying, bigger community doesn't mean better. You are right. It's something that somebody told me quite a long time ago, that actually it's you shouldn't focus on the number of subscribers. You should focus on the quality of those subscribers. And actually, that's something I've been really blessed with, really. I might not have grown as fast as some other channels, and maybe I've upset some people along the way and they've decided not to stick around. But the subscribers that I do have all seem to be all kind of here for the same reason, really. And that's all I ever really want. There's no point me kind of making a video, getting tens of thousands of subscribers, and then them people never ever interacting and never ever watching again, really. Buzzer saying, couldn't agree more, Andy. First, I must admit, I was all about just trying to get subs, wasn't bothered who they were. Now I love talking to my subscribers, getting to know them and their families. Yeah, it honestly just feels like, it does feel like a big family, really. Like everybody's just, like even the fact that in these chats tonight, people are getting to know each other and people are kind of chatting around. And it's interesting when we do kind of do meetups at like Expo, at the Games Expo at the Weekender, people don't know each other face to face, and it can sometimes take a day or two to go, oh, you're so-and-so from the chats, aren't you? That kind of stuff. I find that really interesting. Different gear was saying, if I was to buy a Mantic game, a first one, what would you recommend? Something I can play solo. I would personally recommend Walking Dead All Out War. You can play it solo, you can play it co-op, you can play it competitive, you can grow it into the Call to Arms, which is kind of expansion, which is sort of slightly bigger scale games. There's a Here's Negan board game if you find that you do like it. It's quite an inexpensive entry point. If you look online, you can pick up that core set for relatively inexpensive, kind of £20-25-ish. The miniatures are all single piece, so you haven't got to worry about building them. And if you're kind of just getting started, what I find with most, if not all Mantic's games, is they're very easy to understand, but there's always a little bit of there's like the depth is in the tactics, and it's less about learning the rules and it's more about playing the game. I mean, Vanguard is a fantastic game. You can't play it solo, but if you got into that kind of game with another player, Vanguard's fantastic. But if you're looking for a solo, for me, there's probably two games I would say if you're looking for solo. There is either Walking Dead. I would say Star Saga as well, because you can pick that up relatively inexpensively. Hellboy's fantastic as well. However, Hellboy is a bit more of an investment in cash, really, and it's probably less. Would I say it's the least Mantic of the games? I wouldn't say it's the least Mantic. I think it's just because it's such a big production because of the Kickstarter and everything else. But yeah, you can't go far wrong with Walking Dead, buddy. VG is saying just jump off. Where the hell are we gone to? That's just jumped off the top of the screen there. It doesn't really do online gaming. Toxicity is one of the main reasons. I tend to do very little online gaming these days. I tend to play more like story-driven stuff. Like I've gone back and I've started playing The Last of Us again, because I never did finish it before. So I went back and I've started playing through The Last of Us. I'll probably pick up Days Gone when I finish that. I'm kind of more, I like Uncharted games and stuff, Tomb Raider. I'm more into the kind of story stuff, really. I played Titanfall 2 quite some time ago and never played it online, only ever played the single player story. I find for me, I don't get a lot of time to play video games these days, so I'm not particularly very good. So the online stuff just becomes an exercise in frustration. Few people here saying Walking Dead or Star Saga, so yeah, that kind of backs up what I was saying. Paul saying he was raised on single player video games. Me too, buddy. Paul saying Monday night stream is great. I'm either active or painting and just listening. Nice one. Steve says I'm holding out for a BlackJack Legacy mug. You'd have to try and win one, buddy. This comment says he. Chris said I'm very cautious with communities and interacting. A lot of times I'm put off by the community and their gatekeeping and hierarchy, and this and Mantic are two of the best I'm in. Thank you, buddy. That means quite a lot. I mean, because I don't really know one sort of, like, I'm not a massive player of one particular game, so there's no point in me trying to kind of like tell somebody this is the best game and you shouldn't play that, and or you should only play this one game. Everything I've tried to do since I started doing YouTube videos was around kind of just showcasing all of the different games that are out there. Like, I love to play different stuff. I love to chop and change games, and I'll never be the person you come to for tactics. Like, I'm not the person that plays something and knows all of the kind of fine details. There might be certain games that I play more than others, and I might get to play them earlier, so I have a bit more of an insight and stuff. But mine's more about just enjoying what's out there, really. So yeah, I'm not in a position to gatekeep anything, really. I'm no expert. VG says, also nothing like the community meetup in real life. Having travelled to the US to meet up with the Tabletop minions and regulars, I had such an amazing time and all such great people. How did you find that, buddy? I mean, they seem like an awesome bunch, but I guess it's quite a big group now, isn't it? Like the actual sort of people following Uncle Adam and the Tabletop minions. I mean, I think I saw today's up with something like 140,000 subscribers now. The channel's just doing phenomenally well. It doesn't seem 2 minutes ago since he passed 100,000. And it's awesome to see. It couldn't happen to a nicer guy, but I do wonder whether communities can get a little bit out of control of those kind of numbers. From your experience, that's not the case with that one. Mark said he's missed one live stream so far, was good. I think I've missed two, mate. So you're doing better than me. Where we are. Andy says, being new to this, I like we've had our questions answered without making us look silly. Do you know what it is, buddy? One thing I will always encourage here is there is never a silly question. Everyone was new once. There's so many kind of terms and sort of phrases that people take for granted. Even when you talk about things like dry brushing, what does dry brushing mean? What does wet blending mean? How much are you supposed to dilute paint? What does kind of what's quarterbacking when you're talking about board games and somebody's quarterbacking? There's all these kind of terms and stuff that if you've been around games for a little while, you can start to take them for granted. But yeah, if anybody is ever kind of, what does that mean? Here's the place to come and ask it, because chances are if I don't know it, somebody will. So yeah, always worth asking. Sean says the quality of him is worth 1,000 views. Buddy, couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. If everybody here was worth their weight in views, mate, I'd be the most watched channel on YouTube, that's for sure. Flying Marvel says, well, I never felt welcomed anywhere else within gaming. I certainly never felt comfy to post photos of my models anywhere before your Facebook group. That is an awesome thing to say. My group is not about being the best painter. It's not about being the best player, the most tactical person, the person that wins the most trophies. It's about people enjoying themselves. And if you enjoy something by not painting your miniatures, if you enjoy something by just collecting stuff and you want to show somebody what you've just bought this week, or what have you just what did you get for a birthday present or something, that's what the group's about. It's just about people who love games coming together and kind of sharing in the hobby in a non-judgmental way, really. And it can start to sound a little bit airy-fairy at times, and especially in the day and age now where everybody's a bit worried about being classed as a social justice warrior or a snowflake or all these different types of terms. And I've kind of had the finger pointed at me at times just because I'm not judging anybody. It's like, I'm nobody to be pointing the finger saying you're doing it wrong. Everybody hobbies how they like to hobby. And if you're enjoying it, then you're doing it the right way. That's all that matters, really. Where are we at? There's lots of chat tonight and it's jumping around like mad. VJ saying there makes him all tight. I got a lot of in-jokes. I do sometimes worry here, actually, that because we all get a bit quite pally and stuff, we have a little in-jokes here as well. And I do kind of worry that sometimes we kind of exclude people from that. But yeah, thankfully it's not too bad. We can have our in-jokes, so that's okay. Blackwing Bird is saying, that's why I'm so active in the Mythic Discord. I originally joined to learn more about the games, but stuck around because I got to know the people and really enjoy them. Yeah, the Discord's been really, it's kind of opened my eyes, really. I do wonder where it fits. So because I got quite an active Facebook community, I do wonder what I would gain from going to Discord, either as well as or instead of. But I do like the way Discord works. I like the way you can almost kind of separate it out into different topics, really. So if people want to just come and post pictures, you can go to one place. It would work really well for our kind of painting challenges and stuff like that. So I think for all Facebook is working for me at the minute, Discord potentially could be an option for the future, I think. But yeah, I need somebody to give me some tips, I think. VJ saying that they went out drinking both nights, so of course mayhem ensued. Of course it does. Yeah, Christian saying Sean and Ruth should post more of their stuff. It's top stuff. It definitely is, buddy. Yeah, should never be shy to share them. Blackwing Bird saying love The Last of Us. Yeah, I'm probably about 4/5 of the way through it now. I feel like it's kind of ramping up towards the end. Really enjoyed it. I went back and started playing it again from the start because I completely kind of got sidetracked and never went back to it. So yeah, I'm glad I did. Where we're at, let's have a look what Sean's saying there. Bit of chat there about Final Fantasy VII and some video games. VJ saying that the irregulars are still a small crew. Yeah, the irregulars are kind of like the Patreons, aren't they, I think. That's cool. Christian, bit more chat there. Green Tree says, I need to get the kip. Got to be up early for work. Good night, all in this community. Thanks for coming in, Green Tree. Much appreciated, buddy. Al says, the bit more chat there about models, pictures of models. VJ saying Adam's community is big, but the irregulars isn't too unwieldy. I think that's probably when you're that big, you probably get a few more Patreon supporters and stuff, and then maybe they become like kind of your more tight-knit, smaller community, I guess. Bit more chat. Christian saying it's so good getting multiple games, lots of gameplay. Paul saying that's why I did also support BlackJack on Patreon. Thank you very much, buddy. Of course you do. Got to support the good people. That's very nice of you to say so. I mean, I'll give it a bit of a plug because we're talking about. I do have a Patreon account as well. The idea of Patreon really is it allows me to buy all the bits and pieces, the bits of equipment, the cameras and stuff. When I first started, it kind of helped me out buying some games and some models and stuff when I was doing reviews and things. These days, I'm slightly more fortunate that companies kind of like offer me sort of copies to have a look at and things. So now that money goes towards kind of improving the channel. So things like new cameras, the lens, the lighting, things so I can live stream with multiple cameras, all those kind of things. And essentially what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get it to a point where that is it's an income really. And then I can take a step back away from my day job and I can try and increase this to doing it more full time. Yeah, I think the idea is that any kind of donations I do get, it all goes back into the channel. I'm not kind of saving it all up for a foreign holiday. It pays for things like this weekend. So on Friday, I'm traveling down to do some filming. It's about a 4-hour drive from me down to where Colin from Battle Systems lives. So I've got a bit of a trip down there to go and see him and do some filming and hopefully bring some stuff for the channel. It's things like that. Until I get a bit bigger and people start kind of paying me to do it, then the money will go somewhere else. So it just helps me step the channel up. It helps me grow. I have to take time off work to do this kind of thing. So I lose it, like I lose holidays or I have to take an unpaid day. It's all those kind of things really. So yeah, that's what it all goes towards. Where are we at? Robert said his first time here felt right at home. I always feel like even when new people come in, I never feel like they kind of, for all like it's hard for me to kind of keep up and make sure I'm answering everybody's questions. I do feel like kind of new people seem to come in and fit straight in. They don't seem to feel too shy to get involved, and everybody's always really welcoming. So that's that goes down to you lot really. VJ saying he likes Discord better than Facebook. More control on who gets in. Well, my Facebook group at the minute is it's locked out basically, so you have to apply to join my Facebook group. I must reject at least 3 or 4 people a day. It sounds awful, but I do vet everybody that comes in. So I'll have a quick look on their Facebook profile. If it tells me if they're in any linked groups. So if somebody wants to join the Facebook group and they haven't answered the questions that I ask, and they're not in any similar groups, and I'm in a lot of groups for different games. If they're not in any similar groups, they don't have any kind of friends in the group, I tend to let it hang for a little while and see if they answer any of the questions, and then I'll reject it. Sometimes people come in looking for blackjack or poker, so they'll get rejected as well. But I tend to only kind of let people into the group, and thankfully we've never had any people spamming stuff. We've never had any people trying to sell kind of like fake Ray-Bans or anything like that. So yeah, so that's why the Facebook group doesn't have a lot of members. It doesn't have as many members as maybe other groups do. I think we're at about 550, something like that, 550 people. But it does tend to be 550 people who are all there for the same reason, rather than 1,000 people that kind of just because I let everybody in kind of thing. Mark saying, not to hark on about Super Fantasy Brawl too much, but have you seen the trailer? Would love to see that as a short series showing their rich lore. The trailer, if you haven't seen it, folks, is absolutely awesome. Mythic blow it out of the water when it comes to kind of like their promotional trailers for their games, and they've done it again with this one. It looks exactly how I feel. Like in my head, it's exactly how the game is when I play it. Yeah, they've absolutely smashed it, it looks fantastic. Sean saying, if you do want to start up Discord, give me a shout and I can help you out. I'll hold you to that, buddy, because it was something. If my Patreon group ever grew to a big enough size, I think I'd probably maybe start something up so that Patreons and all of the Facebook members here and stuff, all of the YouTube members here, there was a kind of like a little exclusive place where everybody could kind of meet, because you can't do that on Facebook. The group, I think at the minute, it's not particularly that big, so maybe it doesn't really warrant it at the moment, but who knows, one day, mate. But yeah, I'll definitely, keep that in mind. VG is saying the regulars are the top tier Patreons, still very reasonably priced though. Yeah, I think that's a great way to do it. If I ever got to the size of kind of Uncle Adam, I can live in hope one day. I think I'd have to do something very similar. I think he manages it really well. Christian is saying, don't forget to hit the like button. Always very nice if you hit the like button. It's always much appreciated. Andy Smith says, where does the name BlackJack Legacy come from? So I think I might have mentioned this a couple of times. So I apologise for anybody that heard this before. But many moons ago, I decided, before I ever started YouTube with this stuff, I decided I was going to have an Airsoft YouTube channel. And it was called BlackJack Airsoft. BlackJack because I thought it sounded kind of cool. And when me and my wife got married, she bought me a tie pin to wear on our wedding day. And it was the Ace of Spades, a little Paul Smith tie pin with the Ace of Spades on it. So, and we went to Las Vegas for our honeymoon. We went to Vegas. So BlackJack just kind of had like a nice little kind of place in my heart, if you like. And then when the stuff for Airsoft never really worked out, I just came up with a random name that didn't really lock me into any kind of content. BlackJack Legacy, I kind of thought, I know I've got I've got 3 kids. Wouldn't it be awesome in the future when they get a bit older to kind of see how Dad was when he was a bit younger, I suppose. So that kind of legacy aspect is where the name came from. And then I kind of fell into doing it on the miniatures games. And the rest is kind of history, I suppose. So whilst the name might not really fit with the content, I've kind of had it so long that people know me now as BlackJack Legacy. So I suppose there's no real need to change it anymore now. So yeah, that's where I come from, bud. Paul said, I paid for all your equipment playing blackjack. I'm not really good enough, mate. I've probably spent more playing blackjack than I've spent on equipment if that was the case. Jackie Brown says, as far as video games go, it's all about old Mario Kart. Do you know what it is? Not too long ago, me and my wife were at my brother-in-law's and sister-in-law's playing Mario Kart on the old Nintendo Wii with their kids. And we got so hooked playing it that we went, and my wife spent her bonus money from work. We bought a Nintendo Switch, and we've been sitting playing Mario Kart, the two of us, on the sofa on an evening now. So yeah, that's what my gaming's gotten into. Proper old school kind of sofa gaming, 2-player. VJ says, welcoming is the key to any good community. You are right, buddy, and a community is only as good as the people in it, that's for sure. Flying Mammal says, you must have thought I was a right weirdo from my profile. Not at all. No, not at all. I mean, I'm not saying I kind of stalk people, but sometimes it's really obvious from kind of like when people, what will happen is like I'll get a request and it'll say so-and-so wants to join BlackJack Legacy group, and when I click on the request, it says like they're a member of like buying and selling bitcoins and all this kind of stuff, and instantly you realise they've got nothing to do with it. They're just kind of spamming groups. So that's kind of why I keep it like that, really. Andy said he joined Facebook after gassing here. Yeah, a lot of people do that as well. So they'll find the Monday Night Lives, they'll come and have a bit of a chat here, and then people start talking about the Facebook group. And what will tend to happen, every Monday night, I'll get a few people wanting to kind of join the group after coming in here for the first time. So yeah, it works pretty cool that way as well. Robert said he looks at our profiles. I know where you all live. Where's... I'm not sitting out there. So Flying Mammal says, oh, hashtag Mantic Monday Mountain. Oh, is my internet? Do you know what it is? I've just noticed. It just says in the top corner there, Matt's just pledged $5 on Patreon as well. That's awesome, Matt. Thank you very much. But I don't know whether you're sitting silently in the background, mate, or whether you've just done it offline, whatever. We also, I forgot to mention as well, you can probably just very briefly see Kirill pledged as well during the week as well. So Kirill, who was our first YouTube member here, also pledged on Patreon during the week as well. So it's massively appreciated, folks. I really do appreciate it. VJ says the Tabletop Minions painting Facebook got a little out of hand and now isn't really a great place. That's kind of like my experience of it, really, if I'm honest. That's my only real knowledge. So the Patreon stuff, I'm obviously don't really know much about. Blackwing Bird says, I live in Vegas, come back. I love Vegas, Blackwing Bird. I've been to Vegas 3 times now. It is my favourite place on earth. And whilst I do like to kind of have a little gamble when I'm there, kind of, I'll put a little bit of money aside so that I've got some money to spend. It's not like I do it when I'm at home or anything like that. It's part of the it's part of the fun, it's part of the holiday, really. But I just love it. There's just a buzz about the place. I love the fact that it doesn't matter. Like, as an example, when me and my wife went, we almost didn't even bother kind of switching over to a different time zone. We kind of almost stayed in our own time zone, and we just kind of went out partying at kind of like sort of like 5 o'clock in the morning or whatever. There was always something we could go to. I love Vegas. It's not for everybody. It's an acquired taste, but I absolutely love the place. Andy Smith says, I'm glad you dropped Airsoft. I never even got the first video made, buddy. I've got all the gear. I've still got all the gear now, and I keep meaning to go back and play. But I've got the little kind of GoPro camera for the helmet and stuff. I'm just awful at it. And so when I reviewed the footage that I'd done, when I tried to kind of learn how to edit it all together, because I'd done nothing like that before, it was just my head kind of bouncing around, and you couldn't really see anything. And I thought, nah, it's not really worth it. I'm not going to bother. So that was where it started from, really. VJ saying, I bought a Switch just for Mario Kart. Yeah, it's the only game we've got. But yeah, we play it all the time now. Noxie says, great stream as always, mate. Got to run. Bye, everyone. Thanks for coming in, fella. Different Gear TV says, just order that Walking Dead All Out War. Make sure you get some commission from Mantic for the sale. Thank you very much, buddy. By all means, drop them a little note on Facebook or something like that, or tag them on Instagram. Tag them on Twitter and say thanks to BlackJack Legacy. That's pretty cool. Jackie Brown says, good man. I play Mario Kart with the kids. I'm actually pretty cool at Mario Kart, if I'm honest. I'm not bad at it. I've become pretty good now with the Switch, and you can kind of sit. So if my wife's watching something on TV, and I can kind of sit there with the Switch in my hand, kind of thing. I've become pretty good at Mario Kart. Where are we at? Different Gear TV says, also ask them to send the shipment to Spain as soon as possible. Blackwing Bird says, we have the most amazing food here. Some of the nicest food I've had ever has been in Vegas. There is such a good, because there's so much kind of competition for restaurants, and sort of the hotels are on a different level. Because there's so much competition, food has to be good. So some of the best pizza I've ever had has been in Vegas. The best burgers I've had have been in Vegas. It's amazing. Vegas. Neil Anderson says, I got married in Vegas. So I tell you what, me and my wife went on holiday to Las Vegas. We went for, I think we did 5 nights in Vegas, and then I think we did we did 7 nights in Vegas, and then we did 7 nights in Miami. One of the first holidays we ever went on together before we had the little one. And I absolutely loved Vegas. It was brilliant. So when we got married, we went back and we did a week in Vegas for our honeymoon, and then we went to Jamaica after that as well. Because I wanted to go to Vegas and my wife wanted to go somewhere kind of nice and sunny and kind of lie around a pool somewhere. So we did that. And then when we found out that my wife was pregnant, I booked a weekend to Vegas. So we went on a Friday and came back on a Monday night. And just had a long weekend because I knew I wouldn't be going back anytime soon as we had a little one. So those are the 3 times I've been over the years, and yeah, I would absolutely sort of jump at the chance to go again. But having a little one now, my little one's nearly 3 years old now. I don't think he's quite at the stage where I can take him to Vegas now. Neil saying, I can let you know a couple of good airsoft sites. I love it. Please do, mate. Please do. Where are we at? VJ says, for us noobs, what is airsoft? So yeah, airsoft is a bit like paintballing, but instead of being shot with paint, you get shot with kind of plastic sort of BB pellets. But it tends to get taken a bit more seriously than kind of paintballing. So people kind of really get into the gear, and what I'll do is I'll get some photographs of my equipment. So I've got it hanging in the garage. I've got 3 guns between like me and my 2 older sons used to all go together. So whenever anybody comes to kind of read the electric meter, they see all my combat gear hanging up and they think I'm some kind of war veteran. Yeah, cute Christian saying pretty much paintball with pellet guns. Skullman says, I hear there are a lot of chips in Vegas. Yeah, there's 1 or 2, mate. Margot says, when you lose to your while playing games, does your voice tone change like when you lost to Az? My voice goes all over the place. I think it's kind of when it dries out a little bit on the live stream, it gets a bit squeaky. Blackwing Bird says, anyone plan a trip to Vegas, let me know. I'm Bree in the Facebook group. Do you know what it is, Bree? I never put 2 and 2 together. I didn't realise that you were Bree and you were Blackwing Bird. I now know. Thank you very much. We've got Future Boys just coming there as well. Adam Edgar says, good morning, Hobby Heroes. Good morning, fella. How are you doing? Hope you slept well. Everyone's saying, Blackwing Bird, love to go again. Red Flag was ace. At some point, I'd quite like to go to the Las Vegas Open, because I've heard good things about that, and it's probably an excuse. So maybe one day, if I ever hit tens of thousands of subscribers, maybe I could go there as a bit of a trip, maybe give a bit of a talk or something like that. Who knows? What an awesome way to manage to get to Vegas again. That would be a pretty cool way to combine gaming and to combine a trip over to McCarran as well. So, how we're doing for chat time? How we're doing? Can't find where my clock is on here. That's 10, that's not too bad, is it? So then, folks, we talked a little bit about community. It was more there really kind of just to set things off, but I guess what I really want to do is I want to thank you lot, because you are the folks that make all of this. You make it all worth doing, really. I mean, I've kind of had a bit, probably going a bit deep now, but recently I've not had a lot of free time, and I must admit I've been thinking, why am I bothering kind of thing. If I can't commit to doing things on a more regular basis, I've really gone to extremes. I was really putting every single last ounce of energy in doing 5 videos a week when I first started this year. Now things have really swung the other way and I've got hardly any time, and it will get better, but it's these Monday night live streams, and it's the interaction with the chat, and it's the interaction with the Facebook groups and the Twitter comments and the Instagram posts and all that kind of stuff, and the messages from Christian and the Patreons, and it's all of that support that kind of keeps it going. So when things are not going great, because I just haven't got the physical time, because unfortunately, I do have to do a day job as well to put a roof over the head. It's stuff like this that kind of keeps me going and gives me a bit of a kick up the backside and says, come on, keep going. So you can never underestimate the power of somebody just having a little comment in a Facebook group, or somebody dropping a few dollars in a Patreon thing, or somebody just sending me a little message. All of those things just they just give me that little kind of boost, and they give me that little kick when things are not going to plan, shall we say. But yeah, it's just awesome. Honestly, I can't thank you all enough. It doesn't matter whether it's a comment in here, whether somebody just gives somebody a thumbs up on one of the pictures in the Facebook group. All of those things honestly mean a real lot. VJ says, treat yourself, Andy. If only it was that easy, buddy. Treat myself. Margot says, Bree, if you have a large garden, we can come to yours and camp for LVO. And VJ says, thank you for bringing us all together, Andy. I struggle. Honestly, I struggle with that sometimes because I never feel like I've brought everybody together. I feel like everybody's just kind of, I feel like everybody's come together, and I think if I started to think that it was me that had done it, I think I'd probably feel a bit weird about it because it's just like we're getting all deep and meaningful tonight. I don't really have like a big sort of circle of like friends, like in real life kind of thing. I'm sociable kind of thing. Don't get me wrong. I am a chatty guy, but I don't really go anywhere. I don't have a lot of free time in between working and family and sort of making videos and all those kind of stuff. There's not really a lot of free time to kind of get out and socialise that much, which is why a lot of this kind of stuff's really important. And I think sometimes I do understand some people rely on communities because if it wasn't for chatting to people online or it wasn't chatting to people in live streams like this, they'd be quite isolated, sort of away from people. And having a community like this allows people to get involved with other like-minded people they would never ever get to chat to otherwise. So to think that I've kind of done this, I feel a bit weird about that, really. I don't really think it's me. I think it's more a case of just you lot have all maybe found a video that you've enjoyed of mine and you all ended up in the same place at the same time, and that's pretty cool. Where are we at? Where we at? Robert's saying his wife's listening to the live chat. Good evening, Mrs. Zunk. I hope you're very well too. I hope the garden's going well as well. It looked very awesome for Halloween. I look forward to seeing what you're doing this year as well. Andy Smith said he's just bought All Out War. What you all want to do is you all want to get onto Mantic and tell them this is where you heard about All Out War, right? I'm going to be doing some All Out War stuff this week. No, I'm not. I'm going to be doing some Call to Arms stuff, which you can play using your All Out War miniatures as well. Get on the Mantic and tell them that this is where you found out about it. It's really cool because it helps me because I never really know what. I'll be honest. I don't know what kind of reach I have. I don't know what power I have over kind of. If I recommend something, does that mean anything to anybody? It's just one person's opinion kind of thing. So I never know. Like, am I helping to sell stuff, or am I just another voice in amongst everybody else's? So yeah, if you ever kind of buy anything or you sort of take something from a recommendation, make sure you let people know where you found out about it. Dice Deal says, I had that wobble, not posted a vid for 2 weeks. It's really hard, mate. Honestly, sometimes it just gets in your head, and the longer you leave it, the worse it gets, and you can't seem to get out of that kind of weird position. It's a really strange one. Christian says, how about a BlackJack community trip to Vegas 2022 soon? No, it's not too soon, mate. 2019, let's do it. Let's have the weekend in Vegas. BlackJack Con 2020. I think we might struggle to get it. I'm sure there must already be a BlackJack Con over in Vegas, is there? BlackJack Con, I like the sound of that, mind. Buy Grove to Bog Roll. I tell you what, mate. There's been a few slips and trips along the way, mate. I'd rather go from Bog Roll to videos. I'd rather go from Bog Roll to Film Roll. That would be better. Robert Zung says a trip to Vegas in 2020. I'm in. Mark says you're my inspiration. Said just do it at one event. To be honest, mate, I would give everybody that same recommendation. If you ever fancy giving it a try, just give it a try. What's the worst that happen? You don't enjoy it, or nobody watches, or the world's not going to come to an end, is it? Like, if you make a big fool of yourself and nobody sees it, don't worry about it. If you make a big fool of yourself and loads of people see it, the chances are you haven't really made a big fool of yourself because you've done something that loads of people wanted to see. So there's no real downside if you ever really fancied giving it a try. But just don't try not to get like kind of hung up on it, really. It can become a bit of a hamster wheel at times, and you've sometimes kind of got to get off it just to realise whereabouts you are, really. Mark was saying you never walk alone. Should we try and make Andy cry? I don't think I'm not much of a crier, to be fair, mate. Neil says Andy's getting emotional. It's become a bit of deep me for tonight, really. I'm probably sharing more than I would normally do, I suppose. Where are we at? Dice Tales, Andy Jam. If you build them, they'll come. I'm willing up. Since we have Dice Tower West now too. I did hear there's another Dice Tower one. Skull Munchers, I only have you guys in my Andy Shrine room. Paul says, it could be the drink. It's just water tonight, mate. If it was a pint of vodka, I would agree with you, mate, but it's not the drink. Neil says, Andy needs a hug. Neil, you're probably about the closest, mate, if you want to pop round. VJ says, you found your niche here and people have gravitated to you and formed a community. Sort of like a pearl forms around a bit of dirt in a cloud. Yeah, I'm the bit of dirt, mate. I'm all right with that, mate. That's probably a nice way to put it. Mark saying we need to chat to Skull Munch, make sure our shrines match. Yes, VJ, it's not vodka, mate. It's definitely just water. Definitely water. Neil says, I'll get you out of the house. Dirty Dog Airsoft site. I used to, Dirty Dog, before it was Dirty Dog, I forget what it was called now, but that was where I used to play before it changed its name. I've never been since it's been Dirty Dog, but I do know the guy that runs it because he used to be at the site before that. But yeah, that was where we used to play, mate. Where are we at? Al Krabby says, I'm similar, mate. Not a huge circle of friends since I left the Navy, really. Fan of motorbikes, wrestling and Warhammer. Not exactly a common list of interests. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, mate. Underdog Peyton says, I've gone a month without posting a video and I'm so nervous to start again. It's really funny how that happens, mate, isn't it? It's like, sometimes you just, like, I was my most productive and my most kind of like focused when I was doing 5 videos a week because it forced me to be planned, it forced me to be organised, and I almost had a self-imposed deadline. And whilst it was hard work, I really, really enjoyed it. The more you get out of it, sometimes the harder it is to get back into it. I'm really glad to have these Monday night live streams because I think without them sometimes, I'd almost kind of mentally kind of switch off a little bit at times. So yeah, they really do work well. Where are we at? Robert Junk says, that's cool. Honest about games you review and recommend. Yeah, I would honestly never say something nice about a game, just kind of because I think it's going to get views or because it would curry flavour with like a company or something like that. I always only tell you what I think. It's just my opinion. You might agree with it, you might not agree with it, but I will always be honest about it. I've never been paid for my opinion. I've had free games. People send me stuff quite often now, but it doesn't change my opinion. I'd like to think games like kind of my review of Highlander kind of prove the fact that I have to be honest. When I mentioned about Core Space, about how the rule book wasn't the best laid out, the game itself's great, but the rule book's all over the place. I hope that those kind of opinions show you that I'm just telling you what I think, really. I mean, if I don't tell you what I think, what's the point in watching? If you just want to hear everything's great, it's like the Lego movie, everything's awesome. That's not really why you kind of come here. And when I started, a lot of my videos were always going to be positive because it was always stuff that I'd kind of bought and paid for myself, and I'd played it and I enjoyed it, and that was why I made a video about it. I wouldn't really make a video about a negative experience because I felt like that was a bit of a waste of time, really. So it's only now that I get stuff that I wouldn't ordinarily buy myself, that I get to kind of have that mixture of kind of opinions of, I'm sure it's a great game, but it's not for me, or I don't like this about it, or it's not as good as this game, or whatever the case may be. Blackwing Bird saying, what have I done? You've created a trip to Vegas. That's what you've done, Blackwing. Yes, Marco says, be sure not to Google BJ Con. Yes, I think BlackJack Con is by far the better name. Al says, I'm planning on riding Route 66 in 2021 and in Vegas. Al, if you need a pillion, mate, we've just got a shout. Paul says, what happens in Vegas stays on the Monday night live streams. Feels like there's a t-shirt in there somewhere, mate. VJ says, I'm committing to making my Blitzball YouTube channel a thing by the end of the year. Teaching it at Tabletop Mini Expo made me super keen. Do it, buddy. Please do. And if you do, let me know. I would love to subscribe. Christian says, I think you influence people more than you realise. Your enthusiasm and community spirit gets people interested. Super Fantasy Brawl is a great example. Again, Super Fantasy Brawl, like, Mythic haven't paid me anything to kind of be nice about it. I'm really fortunate that I live close by to Mythic, and it gives me the opportunity to get in there and have access to the guys there, really, and to see the game being played and to get invited along. But all that did was it just gave me early access to it, really. It gave me an opportunity to play it before anybody else. The game is awesome. I'm going to be backing it myself tomorrow night. I'm going to be putting my own money into it. It's absolutely amazing, and I can't wait to play it with some of you folks in October as well. So I've got one of their old kind of demo copies. It's changed a little bit the game since the version I've got, the one that I showed last week on the live stream. They've given me some of the little cardboard standees, so I don't have any miniatures, but it means I can play the game. And if there's nothing available by October, I'll be bringing that demo copy with me to the weekend so we can play it together. It's an awesome game, and I can't wait to play it more kind of competitively, really, as well. But yeah, if the game wasn't for me, I would not be kind of singing about it, because nobody's paying me to promote the game. I'm promoting this because I think it's awesome, and I really hope that's something that you guys enjoy too. Tony says, plan on doing the same thing yourself in the next few years. Oh, awesome. Flymal says, #glasswatch. We'll have to see if we can get some glasses made as well, Nate. Skullmunch is saying, yeah, would love to give Blitzball a try. It's not here in the UK. No, somebody else was telling me that as well. It only ever went out in the US, didn't it? Andy's saying, don't need to go to Las Vegas. We can meet in Ches Vegas, in Chesterfield. I've been to Chesterfield a few times, and I'm trying to think why now. I can't think why I've been to Chesterfield. Oh, the company I work for used to have a factory there, but we sold it not too long ago. Where are we at? Bit of chat there about bikers. Skullmunch says, cheers mate, I'll give you a message. I think that's... Oh yeah, that must be about the Blitzball stuff. VJ said, I was very impressed that you were honest about Highlander. I couldn't not be honest, mate. Every game I've played, it was the same when I reviewed Resident Evil. The game, I thought the game was great. I thought the boards were awful. Like, they're just so dark. They're so dingy. It feels like a real letdown, especially when you see the quality of boards in things like in Hellboy. Hellboy boards are awesome. They really fit the kind of the theme of the game. The Resident Evil boards were really dark. The little kind of tiles that you got that showed open doors and closed doors, you couldn't make them out. I was fortunate that I backed the 3D doors, and that for me was a bit of a game changer, really. I'm not sure I would have enjoyed it as much if I just had those little card doors and I couldn't really tell if they were open or closed. So you can't not be honest, can you? I know some people are not honest, but it's all I've got, really. All I can do is be honest with my opinion. If I tell you a game's great and you go and buy it off the back of that and you think, well, that's a load of rubbish, like that game's awful, I can't believe the components are not worth the money alone, then you're never going to believe anything I ever say again. So all I can do really is be honest about stuff. Let's have a look. Paul says, I give you £100 to promote my Twitter. I'll do it for free, mate. Just anybody who is on Twitter, go and check out Paul Palms on Twitter. Paul, what's your Twitter handle, mate? There you are. You don't have to pay me to promote your Twitter, mate. It's good to get everybody chatting on Twitter as well. Bit of chat going on. Ruth says, have you got new pop figures? I feel like there are more blurs in the background. No, do you know what it is? I've got the same amount, but I think the camera's in a slightly different position. I think they're less blurred, so you can probably see more of them now. So let's think, which one can you see? You can see the Daredevil one on the end. Oh no, sorry. So what you can see there was we got Green Arrow, we've got the Flash and Daredevil. That is one end. There's an R2-D2 on that side. And then right up the other side, I don't know whether you can see, you can probably see I've got some Gears of War ones there. Yeah, it's normally not quite as zoomed. It's more zoomed in, I think. Let's have a chart. Where we're up to. Mark saying my contrast models are still not painted themselves. That's the way it goes, isn't it? Yep, Skullmunch is saying, I think you just zoomed out the camera. It's in a different position. That's exactly what it is. Different Gear TV says, I'm a biker. Just bought one of them electric scooters. Hit 54 kilometers downhill the other day. I miss my bikes. I used to have sports bikes when I was younger. I miss them now. Paul Palm says, I don't have Twitter. How can I promote your Twitter in that case then, mate? But thanks, much appreciated. I do have Twitter. So if anybody is on Twitter and they want to follow me on Twitter, it's at BlackJack Legacy. More Twitter followers is always appreciated. It's always quite nice. It's another way to kind of communicate. Because you can you kind of communicate in short form. It's sometimes somewhere nice just to have kind of little random comments and stuff. And if you're on Instagram, I'm at BlackJack Legacy on Instagram as well. It would always be nice to have some more followers on there as well and share some sort of gaming pictures and stuff. See some of your stuff as well. So if you follow me, I'll kind of follow you back and see what you're up to as well. So yeah, that'd be cool. Paul says, I'm not in it for the fame, I'm in it for the love. What a way to waste your 5 minutes of fame. I like that. So then, folks, thank you very much for tonight. How are we doing for time? I think we're kind of coming up to it, aren't we? Yeah, we're kind of getting towards the end now. So, I just kind of want to end it by saying thanks. Tonight was about community. You folks are the community. I'm not the community. You folks are the community. And all of this stuff would be kind of a waste of time without you. So thank you so much for everything that you lot do for making all of this possible. So, Skullmunch said, I need to get Twitter verified. I don't think that's a thing anymore now, mate. I don't know if they do verifications anymore now. Anyway, stay tuned this week. I will have some stuff coming up. There'll be more stuff coming up about Walking Dead, Call to Arms. I'll give you a little bit of a tease. I might possibly have a bit of a grudge match being set up. But I'll leave it at that. Just watch out for it this week. Watch out for it. Furious George is saying, cheers, Andy. Paul Palm says, get some Ovaltine in you. Al Crowley says, I'm on Instagram. If you missed my live video yesterday, you really missed out. I saw your live video, mate. I really enjoyed it. VJ says, cheers, Andy. Andy says, right, piss off the bed. And everybody else says good night. So, last time, thank you very much, everybody. And I will see you all either in the next video or I'll see you next Monday Night Live. Thanks for watching.